Hey y'all, just real quick, going to give you an update on the sprouts, but also just going to respond to some comments and questions that people had. And some folks have been asking about sprout care, like what are we doing to take care of the sprouts? Are we feeding them? Are we adding lights? Are we doing heat mats and such? So the answer to all of those is we're not doing anything. So let's take a look at the sprouts real quick, and then I'll explain how they got to this situation. So anyway, there they are. They're at different stages because some seeds cracked out of their shells sooner than others, and some are taken off faster than others. But let me just explain what's going on here. First of all, you do see lights in this greenhouse, but to tell you the truth, those are artifacts from a bygone era, way back before Prop 64. I used to actually grow in the off season as well, so we do supplemental lighting, but I haven't turned on these lights in probably 10 years. So yeah, all these sprouts, zero supplemental lighting, it's all natural lighting. And basically if you germinate your seeds from mid-March on, so mid-March, late March, early April, most regular photosensitive cannabis will not pre-flower in natural light, at least here in California or Santa Cruz, just riding the natural light that's being supplied here from the sun. So yeah, absolutely, these lights, I know you see them, I haven't turned them on in 10 years, so no, there's no light going on. Some people ask about heat mats. When I germinate maybe a little earlier in March, this year we got off to a late start, like pretty late in March, and it was already warm enough, so I have not turned on heat mats either under any of these plants. I only use heat mats for the seed germination. So yeah, no heat mats. And then people have asked about what am I feeding the sprouts and such. And the answer is absolutely nothing. I'm going to explain what's going on here. And I do not work for this company. I don't work for anybody. But it is a product, and my main objective would like more people to be growing their own cannabis and having success. So Fox Farm soil, the Happy Frog is what I usually use for starting the pots. Just it has a little more peat consistency in it, so it holds the seeds better, and it's a little lighter on the nutrient, so you don't risk burning your little delicate seeds. But then, and again, I'm not a huge fan of like bagged soil and everything like that. And if I had unlimited amounts of time, you know, I'd be making all my hippie blends even for the early potting stage. We do use regenerative soil, hugelkultur. I'll show you real quick, just out here. So like these are the beds, just an example of some beds that we're going to be planting into. And this soil is, shoot man, this is like 15-year-old soil that we just keep feeding the soil. So yeah, so for your permanent outdoor garden beds, definitely just do regenerative, keep using. But as far as when you're just starting with seedlings, you can, you know, go and use some of that soil, but there is a risk that it could be too hot or have things going. So anyway, let me show you again. These are all Happy Frog soil. And again, other people can have different opinions. Not saying you have to do this, but if you want just a consistent bagged soil that's really easy to use, that is going to always, at least for me, everything always tests clean and doesn't burn your seeds, and they're consistent. Yeah, I go with the Happy Frog. It's a little less expensive soil than this. And then what you do, or at least what I do most years, is so this is Fox Farm Ocean Forest, and this is like classic old school cannabis grower, at least in California soil. And so what we're about to do, just to explain this, is, so again, these are in Happy Frog. Once these plants get about this big, we'll flip them out of the pot, and once their roots have sort of filled this whole pot, then we're going to transition. All of those little sprouts are going to go into these 5-gallon pots. And so what I use, which is convenient, reliable, and just has always worked, is we then go to the ocean forest. Boom. And again, I do not work for these companies at all. It's just we want to help people grow their own cannabis and have success. So if you use those two soils up to this stage, then you should have tremendous success. And then what happens is once the plant's about this tall and it shows if it's female, then we take our female plants that are about yay big, and then we go and put them in our regenerative garden beds, where they will then live out the rest of their life all the way until fall and flower season. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, that's what's going on. But there's enough nutrient in the Happy Frog to sustain these sprouts till they get about this big. And then once that soil is a little bit depleted, by that time we're putting it into brand new ocean forest, which is really loaded with nutrients. And then those plants can probably go for another three weeks or so before they'll show any signs of deficiency. And if they do show signs of deficiency, I'll usually use something like a little fish emulsion or organic fish emulsion or something like that, just to get them through. But then by the time they're ready to go out into our garden, once we plop them in those beds, those are loaded with nutrients, and then the plants just take off. So also when you're dealing with sprouts, you don't want to feed them too much. I mean, it'll make it grow faster, but you know, all of a sudden before you're ready, you don't necessarily want your plants huge before they get out to the garden. You really want to keep them smaller, and you're really just waiting for them to show whether they're male or female. And it's a lot easier to replant and actually transport and carry a female plant that's this big. If you have these huge plants, you know, that's going to be a lot harder to transport them to the garden. And also, you're not going to necessarily have a huger, bigger plant. It's the real growth, the real super growth happens once the plants get in the garden bed. So don't, at least in my opinion, don't supercharge your little sprouts while you're just waiting for the plants to sec. You don't really want a huge plant at that point. But once they're sexed, then they go in the garden bed, then they take off. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, so anyway, these are all the pots that are getting ready. Probably in another week or so. Yeah. So this has about at least probably like 10 days. So I'd say in about 10 days, this little Cambodian haze will be ready to go into here. And at that point, that's when we spend a whole day filling these pots full of this year ocean forest. You don't want to fill the pots, you know, weeks in advance before you're planting, because then your soil will dry out and you'll have to keep watering just the soil. So that's a lot more work. So anyway, just keep it, let everything sit until you're ready to transplant. Hope that makes sense. Also, another thing, our regenerative beds are loaded with nutrients. So every few years we do, because our plants get really big and they suck out all the nutrients in our beds. So every once in a while we like to recharge our hugelkultur beds and our other raised beds. And this is what we like to use, by the way, is this Omri listed, so it's organic Omri biofish. So that's a really nice, and some little critter got into this, and so anyway. But anyway, that's what it looks like. It's like kelp and fish bone meal, and I think it's got alfalfa. Anyway, this is great. Then bone meal, super awesome. Phosphorus, tons of phosphorus and lots of calcium. So calcium is wonderful for your cannabis plants. And we use the bone meal. We don't use fish bone meal because fish bone meal smells really strong and is very attractive to skunks and raccoons and little critters who will dig it up. Even my dogs love it, and you'll find my dogs will be eating the fertilizer. So the bone meal, the cow bone meal, is much less smelly. But keep in mind, all this stuff takes a while to break down, so we put this in the beds on the years that we boost our beds. We put it in right around this time, which is late April. Yes, that's what time it is. So anyway, okay, one other little thing. Just want to show you about watering. So I'm a big fan of Dram hoses. They've got a nice 100-foot hose. Again, I don't work for these companies. It's just for people looking for tools that work, because there's a lot of crappy tools and utensils out there. But I use the Dram water wand, their hoses, and I'm going to show you the only thing I cracked this one. But for little teeny sprouts, you can water with this head. You don't knock over your sprouts necessarily. But I want to show you a little trick for when your sprouts get a little bit bigger and you don't want to water directly on them because you start knocking them over. See, like this, if I hit that with water, it might go boop and get knocked over. So I'll show you a little trick. I took that off, the little sprayer thing, and now what I'm going to do is just come in like this and water it like that, where I'm not hitting the leaves. So I can just really quickly get everything nice and wet. Oops, see, I hit that one. That's okay. I mean, I'm not going to like to beat them up a little bit. You want them, and sometimes you just kind of tickle them. If a plant falls over, by the way, you can just take some soil and kind of push it back up. So anyway, there we go. This is a real quick way to just, boom, get all your watering done. Very fast. You can do it even faster when they're smaller, when you're just spraying the whole thing. But anyway, I do this like once a day. I like to do it midday. Today I got to it a little late because I don't want them going to bed super wet, so I usually get them earlier. But yeah, life happens. So that's why I'm just going to spend the next few minutes hitting the rest of these. And that's it. I hope that is helpful. Hope didn't break everyone by using some bag soil. But Fox Farm, yeah, they've been doing it for a long time. And they've always had a consistent product that I've never failed to test or anything, so it seems to be very clean and it's reliable. So anyway, kudos and respect to those guys. I don't really know much about their company other than I think they're up in Humboldt. So maybe that's not even right anymore. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get to watering, but I hope that's helpful. And yeah, have a good night.